The internet believed that Dave Tate went to work out at Lifetime Fitness.
No, it was. One of you emailed or texted me and said, "Hey, can we train beforehand?"
Yeah, that was definitely.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
I come here, I got to train.
Definitely, I'm going to let him train here. Then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, do I want to train with him or not? And because I trained Wednesday night, it's a squat night, and I'm like, well, I think I do. And so and it was a weird thing. I'm kind of like going back. Do I want to do this bodybuilding crap again? And after doing it, I miss a lot. I miss some of it. I really do, because the funny thing was when you told me that you were going to be training lats, I do like one exercise for lats a week, which is chest supported rows.
Yeah.
All my other pulling stuff, deadlift stuff, squat stuff is taking care of that. Yeah. So I'm like, oh man, this is going to suck because I'm going to be terrible.
Yeah, you just did a year's worth of lat training.
I know. Then I'm thinking, well, what if I tear something just doing pull downs, And but then the more I thought about it, and we started going back and forth a little bit about let's do some of John's favorite stuff. And I said this might be kind of cool to do. Maybe in a way closure, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I really found what I was looking for with that. But it was a really good time training and doing that stuff again, because I don't do that. I do the other stuff. So now I'm like, to be honest, I'm a little bit confused, like how I want to train. Like I definitely want to do it again, because that was a good time. And it's a faster pace than what I'm used to. And
we were moving.
The funny thing is you guys are trying to slow me down. I'm like, no, this isn't what I'm used to when I was doing this with John. We just go. And then you build in exercises, like the straight arm pullover. The movement is the rest. So you just go to an easier movement, and then that gives you a little bit more rest, and you get back into the harder stuff. So what would you guys think when we start going back and forth about training wise?
I could definitely see where you and John think alike on a lot of things too. It was kind of like training with him again, which was very nice, honestly, because just certain movements, like I don't even know what we would call. It was a chest supported row of some sort, but dragging it again. Mm-hmm. I haven't done little things like that you almost forget to do. Like how you said, like everyone's traps when they're doing like a chest supported. You don't always have somebody there to tell you that that's what you're doing, and then you're lacking in this point. It might not even be like a weak muscle, but you're just not training it correctly. So doing those things where you had to basically pull it against the rack first and then pull it up, I haven't done anything like that in a long time, so that felt really, really nice.
One thing that helped a lot was, I think you sent the text that said that Daryl had a show.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden my mind was like, okay, now I know what we can do.
Now you got some
Now
direction.
it makes sense, because it's just not three guys training together, two are washed up meatheads. It's like, now I got it, because that gives focus to what the training would be. So that helped a lot, because now then that's why I asked you when you came in, what are you doing, what program are you doing, how many sets are you doing, because I don't want to take you off plan, but try to find those little intricacies. I don't know how to say that word very well in there. What about yourself? How have you, actually I should ask, how have you been training in the past year? Because
basically like that, like I go into the gym, and it's like, I'm still training as if John was there. It's all, it's all his exact style it's kind of like that, where it's like I'm doing all these movements that just remind me of John. It's like I'll, in my head, I'll pick or I'll remember a workout, or like on his channel, we just made a video about leg training, and then it's like, oh, okay, now I remember when we would do back and we would do this exercise. So I'm gonna incorporate that into the next workout. To me, it's just bringing back all these memories of training with him. You brought up the drag curl. Well, John, it's unbelievable the number of, like he would talk about the tools in the toolbox that he had. His creativity, where there were so many options as far as tools of what to do and what exercises, that he would go in phases. And so it was like the 2014 John back training was completely different than 2010 or 2018. And so there's it's been, like I said, it's been 9 months in my training. It's just like I can just keep coming up with new reminders of how I used to train with John. And so I just everything I do, because as we said, like I go back to like 2010, right? And so my entire way of training is based on John. Everything. Like before training with John, I probably like everybody, I was kind of like, all right, Flex Magazine told me to do this Dorian Yates style training. And so I would do that for a while, and then you'd try something else. But ever since training with John, everything he did just made sense to me. Because for me, I'm not a competitive bodybuilder. For me, it's just my idea of a good time, right?
Yeah.
So my goal isn't to do this show next week. It's to be 67 years old and still doing this. And a lot of what he did was based on longevity and staying injury free. And so all of his training principles, if you will, everything just makes sense to me. So really, when it comes to my training, I just keep doing kind of what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, his
I'm not sure if that answers the question.
No, it does.
I was just rolling.
Yeah, no, I like when you're talking about his toolbox, because he didn't just have a toolbox. He had like one of those mechanics toolbox, like I got over there,
The expensive one.
Like a big ass one, with all different things in there, but then knowing what to pull out at what time, that was the art, behind the way that he trained.
It makes me think, so you mentioned you went to Lifetime and trained with him. Well, you think of John, and there's all these videos of you and him here just destroying it. Well, he spent, 15 years or something like that at the Lifetime Fitness Center, and he was able to, create his physique at this fitness center where everybody thinks you've got to be at this crazy hardcore gym. Well, his creativity, if you will, was like on full display with all of these machines that the fitness center had. And granted, back then, they had some pretty good equipment, but like any fitness center,
it was still a fitness center.
It's a fitness center. And so every 2 years, it's like, well, there's these great equipment. Well, let's get rid of that and bring in the new thing so it's shiny and it looks good to the next potential customer. So it's like, okay, then John's like, got to reevaluate and come up with a new tool to say, how can I use this new machine they brought in, because they just took out my favorite hack squat.
It's funny that you say he's in phases, or like the 2010 John Meadows not the same. I almost wonder like what he would be doing now, because I felt like he was never stuck to one thing, and I feel like people that trained with him or was coached by him, there was never anything I felt like he was fixated, like this is the only way that works. If there's a better way to do something, he would do it. So
see, you guys were training with John after I. So when I was training with him, he was in pursuit of the pro card, right?
I got a story about that. We can.
So that was the main drive, was that. So, I mean, we do a workout here and there after he retired, but it was different. To me, it was a different John. He was evolving into being more of a coach than being the competitor, where the hunger of the competitor was kind of what I was used to, where that's where it was a weird dynamic, because when I was training with him, I wasn't the competitor. I just kind of was waiting for the challenge sets and stuff.
And, fun stuff.
So when he stopped coming out to train, because there was no reason at that point, because it is a distance to be able to come out here and train as frequently as he was, I kind of drifted back into my conjugate style and kind of what I love with the training with that. And then he more evolved into what you guys were training with him with. But there was a time when you mentioned the Lifetime Fitness Center, this is funny, man.
There was one time, I know where you're going,
There was one time, man, because he said, look, why don't you come out and train with me? And I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. Like, where is it? And he's like, it's Lifetime Fitness. And immediately I'm like,
I was there. I saw you with the hood up, going at it.
I'm like, man, I don't want to do this, man. And then I remember it was in Easton, and I got a parking garage and all this kind of stuff. And you pay like $25 for a day or whatever. But then, whatever it was, but it smelled like chlorine, And I'm like, this is everything.
Yeah, the whole pool when you walk in from the
and the thing was, John, I'm like hating everything about this, right? He loved it. He's like, man, they got this restaurant. They watch my kids. They got daycare. The equipment's really good. So he had this way of just, here I'm like, this is the last place I would rather just quit.
It was all right there. He had a great restaurant across the street he loved. Trader Joe's was across the street. Like, it was perfect for him.
Yeah, and he's like, and I'm like, what's up with this guy? I'm like, it's like we just, my place was like a shithole, but it was hardcore. And like, this is like the complete opposite. And then we're training and doing this other stuff. And what I always joke about with that is we supersetted leg presses with leg presses. There were different leg press machines.
Right.
And they were both drop sets. Like one of them was an upset, the other was a drop set. And he's like, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to do we're going to superset leg press with leg press. And I'm like, what? How do you do it? Because I got one leg press. It's like every gym I've been in has like one leg press. I'm like, how do you do supersets of leg presses with leg presses? So then we did that. And then he loved this stupid machine where you lay flat on your back. It's like a horizontal leg press.
Was it the where it had a weight stack?
Yeah.
It's at the far corner of the gym.
Yes.
So here's so that's that machine was quickly, and I don't know what you guys did on it, but we quickly named that the death machine. Like I was talking, like at some point that machine was rotated in, and it's nothing special. I had to look, and it's like a techno gym, selectorized leg press machine. It's absolutely nothing special, but it was always like the last exercise of leg day, and what you would do is you'd go in there, and the first set's 20 reps, right? A heavy set of 20 reps. Okay, that's whatever. That's hard. And then the next set is 15 regular reps, but then 5, what's the word? Rest pause. You would stop, dead stop. You dead stop. So you're doing 15 normal, 5 dead stop reps. Then the next set is 10 regular reps, 10 dead stops, and then 5 regular reps, 15 dead stops, and then the last one is 15 dead stops on that machine. But the way it was, somehow that stupid machine felt so good, and since it's that selectorized, you're completely safe to go to failure and beyond, and if somebody needs to, they can assist you. But we quickly named the damn thing the death machine because after you were done, you were just a dead body laying on the ground in the corner. But that was like his creativity, right, on display there.
Yeah, so I hated the thing, and it wasn't for the same reason, because I did it, right? I did the same thing that you're talking about, but I just could not get any mental drive into it. I couldn't get over the fact, like, this is what I would do if I'm on vacation somewhere.
And when you're on it,
and there's nothing else. Like a cruise ship would have this.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
The location of the machine, you were looking directly in, and they could be doing like Jim Fonda workout videos through the window.
It's like,
whatever.
I'm like trying, and I can't get into this, man. I'm like, I'll do it. I'm doing the rest pause and all this, but I'm not enjoying. It's just like, this is horrible, And then afterwards, I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I tell him I never want to come back?
You never came back. You did. It was
and I didn't. I'm like, no, I got something. I got to work. I got something else.
Yeah.
But